Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. First of all, if you can hear the fan in this, please let me know. And if you leave a comment after, it's all good. So I've come to the conclusion that it is virtually impossible not to spend money. So let me give you a little bit of a breakdown to just like kind of recap my day, okay? So going to League of Legends earlier, and I'm like, all right, listen, there's like this cool banner. I want to be able to like get it. I play this game enough, you buy it. And it's funny because now I don't know if it was a law that passed or what exactly happened, but there was something where games are now telling you this is a digital good. So you open the game and it specifies like you're gaining access to this digital good. But if I, for some reason, get hacked, somebody goes on the account, starts swearing, gets the account banned. Maybe they throw a bunch of games. Who knows? You remember the what was the Penguin game back in the day? There was a Penguin game on like Miniclip, and somehow that account got compromised, and I got banned, and I got an email of all these like very horrible things that were said on the account, and it happened at like 3 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, okay, well, if I had anything in that game, you're screwed. And then for this League of Legends thing, I'm like, oh, all right, if anything ends up happening with that, I'm screwed. I can't trade it. If I decide, hey, I don't want to play the game, there's nothing, but I like it, right? And then so on my phone right here, we got the Wednesday night hockey open. I'll give it a little bit of a pause, but the Maple Leafs and the Dallas Stars are playing. Now, traditionally, I'm an Ottawa Senators fan, but they're not playing right now, and that's cool. Watched the game last night. But if you want to watch any of the games, you have to go through a number of steps for the access to it. You can buy this Sportsnet Plus, which is like $24.99 a month, or $30 or like $250 for the entire year. The blackouts in the game are absolutely insane. If I want to get into the NBA, well, that's another subscription of like $129 on top of the cable for the local games if you're wanting to get Raptors, and then the list goes on and on. If you want to watch junior hockey, you want to watch everything else, everything you have to pay so much. So anything you like in life, you have to pay for. And well, that just seems kind of weird. Now, to go back to our traditional topics here, what's up? My name's Schiller. Welcome to XFeed. We talk about NFTs, crypto, and all of that fun stuff that you are a big fan of and what you probably spend money on because you like the idea, you like the actual implementation, or you potentially like the IP that's associated with different digital assets that are now on the blockchain, and you can do whatever you want with it. So we're going to start off with a story about Luka Nets and how people wanted to give other people money instead of him, and he came out massively on top. Let's see what he had to say.
That was really hard. Black Swan, literally down to our last like 200 Gs, and all these guys just telling us no and no and no and no, and we don't believe. And then at the same time, you're seeing them cut ridiculous checks. I mean, dude, I talked to, funny story, Andreessen could have bought 20% of Pudgy for $5 million at one point, and they didn't. And then a month later, they gave Moonbirds $50 million. Do you know how I felt?
Wow.
I was like,
so again, Moonbirds is the whole Kevin Rose debacle that like absolutely went nowhere. They canceled a ton of their in-person events, the whole proof, everything. Like they announced that Kevin Rose was an advisor to you after the acquisition, and there was so much hate and disdain for Kevin Rose about how that all went down. They actually had to remove him from like any connection whatsoever. Right. So to hear and look at how Pudgy Penguins now have done comparatively to that, well, listen, figure out what you like to put your money into. Guys, the mainstream news is talking about the Penguin launch too.
We've seen enthusiasm and in big corrections in bear markets, certainly. And let's just quickly talk about the crypto world and the enthusiasm that we're seeing there. I mean, there's been a lot of froth. Just today, we saw that there is a new token that has come out. It's called the Pengu. It's basically the
You can, one of the best things of everything that's Web3 and blockchain, you can instantly suss somebody out if they have no idea what they're talking about, and you can tell.
Native token of the Pudgy Penguins NFT project.
And then the body language, the Pudgy Penguins NFT Nah, it's crazy.
Apparently, this is a Solana-based token. It debuted at $2.3 billion market cap, hit $90 million in trading volume in the first hour. I know you don't put those kinds of things up for trade, but how do you judge what is legit and what might be a little bit of froth?
Well, what I'll tell you is that I think a lot of people tend to get distracted by these sorts of things, and they talk about how crypto has all of these meme tokens, but underlying this is a very, very real thing. Juxtapose how easy it is for someone to create a token and get access to liquidity and launch it to what's a global marketplace, to how difficult it is for a company to go public and raise capital from retail shareholders in this country. I mean, it used to be that, you know, you'd have companies like Microsoft going public in the 80s at 100 million valuation, and retail can benefit from that appreciation by having access to it. Now that's gotten increasingly difficult. And I think what you're seeing with these tokens is the desire for retail customers to be part of something while it's small and actually take advantage of that growth opportunity and grow along with it. And I think the ultimate antidote is to make it a little bit easier for companies to go public and for retail shareholders to access companies while they're still at reasonable valuations, which over the past few decades has really just been the domain of sophisticated, high net worth individuals and institutional investors. So I think beyond the veneer of all the meme activity is a very serious thing that we should not ignore and we should learn from.
We should not ignore. True. That's why we're doing the stream for the past year. And if you're here for the first time, I'd love for you to follow this channel, subscribe if you're on YouTube, I guess, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I agree. Like, people aren't realizing the movements, the people that are part of this, the community. I mean, like, the community thing is like 50-50, but I think there is a huge desire for people to want to belong or be a part of something. And when it's done in this kind of manner, it's very exciting. Now, of course, we have to highlight your bad things of the day, where we try to scream security for, I don't know, every other episode. We should be talking about it every episode, but my friend just got his entire wallet drained due to a scam phishing site impersonating the Pudgy Penguins official Pengu token claim site. Now, this is happening all the time. If you look on X, there's, I would argue that maybe it's a little bit lesser than what it was at the time. But when Twitter turned X, the amount of ads were like almost just like exclusively wallet drainers of certain sorts. But again, you didn't have as many token launches at the time, but Pengu getting the attention that it did. Just reading the conversation between the two, how did it happen? Basically, I connected to a scam website while using a wrong browser. Just nice. The browser was having my main wallet. I was supposed to use another one, which I had my burner wallet. And then they just link that. And again, like that's not the right site. So, I mean, avoidable, but just be extra cautious. Okay, so apparently Steve Aoki, the famous DJ, had an alien doodle, and they sold it as of like yesterday. I think they paid a lot for this. And there's like a meme in the NFT space of like, oh, if Steve Aoki buys it, it's going down, it's not going good. Or like if he sold, it's going to go higher. So funny timing regarding all of this. But to be fair to Steve Aoki, I don't think he's ever really done anything that odd in the space. And he was one of the early supporters and around. And he's good guy with dealing with all the negative attention. Okay, so this is really, really cool, and I've been of the viewpoint that we just do a lot regarding memes. The way that we talk, again, you respond with people with emojis of certain sorts, the change in communication of 2024. Now, it depends if you're talking with people that are a little bit older, or people that are just not having kind of like a personality through text. But if you ever message somebody and you say like K or okay, and then they're like, are you mad? And you're like, no, I'm just like responding. But people have that assumption because it's kind of hard to discern the message through text. So Cool Cats and Featureverse launched the meme generator that's like a cool cat theme. So you type in what you want, or you take a meme and just insert it into this program, and it'll spit out a whole bunch of different variants. So we got like the hot dog king here. We got like a to the moon Cool Cats. If you ever seen the Kesha streamer thing of the true that I always post, we got one of these. Rodney Mullins also. This one's probably better than the one that I had, but it's like, so hold on, I could probably just find it right here. Yeah. So like that true, right? Like this is the meme, And this is what the Cool Cat meme generator popped out. So it's very, very good. It looks like more collections are coming to it. I'm very, very excited to see kind of the rollout out of all of this. And it's super simple for anyone to be able to use. Yo, Momentum, what's going up? It's me, Mayhem, with Cool Cat on my timeline. Yeah. And the amount that it's gone across everywhere has been absolutely insane and really cool to see. And I've seen certain comments, again, where people are saying, well, hold on. Like, if this is feature versus tech, why aren't they using Fluff World, where it's like, all right, well, respectfully, how many times have you seen people be excited around the look of fluffs generally within the space, where a lot of people say, hey, the Cool Cats IP could go somewhere? So I think it's really, really smart of them to start with Cool Cats and then expand to other collections. And we'll see if other collections out there want to be a part of it. Because again, it's all AI and it sounds, like it's going to be easier to implement than one would think. So JPEG Flipper, this is an interesting post to talk about narratives, because leading up to the Pengu airdrop, everybody was screaming the Penguins were going to flip CryptoPunks. And then the token drop happened. Obviously, the NFT kind of fell flat, and that conversation isn't as prevalent as it was before. Now, that doesn't mean if Pudgy goes to $1 billion and people, it's already at $1 billion. That's no pun intended. It's, it keeps going higher than where it is. If people are going to rotate back into more Pudgy Penguins, or what the viewpoint of all this is with Abstract coming up. But it is interesting to follow these different narratives that before a really hype moment, narratives, Pudgy's going to flip CryptoPunks, and then it didn't really end up being close to happening. So there's kind of this funny post where Hunter Orell's talking about people saying that like the market top's in. And then Garga from Bored Ape Yacht Club was like, yo, get a grip, man. And highlighting that, well, this was like 2 days ago. So for perspective, right? The market's kind of fallen, and you might be like, this is terrifying. There was 733 million of ETF inflows for Bitcoin. I think 2 days ago. What are we bearish for? We're bearish for things like this. The Hornets recently gifted a kid a PS5. Imagine you go to a NBA game and you get to go on the court, you get a PS5. That's what I'm calling 11. And then off the camera, they took away the PS5 and gave the kid a jersey instead. Nah, that's diabolical. Now, apparently they made like an announcement or whatever saying, we got the kid a PS5. But I'm just trying to imagine that situation going down. And imagine if you're a parent, what do? You go out and you're like, yeah, we'll just go buy you the PS5. Sorry. Like, what a weird situation. Okay, so Clement highlighting that somebody's shilling a Zed run. I shouldn't say a Zed run, but shilling Zed run. Guys, I haven't seen Zed run on my timeline in a minute.
Guys, I just bought this virtual racehorse for $150 or 0.05 Ethereum. And trust me, that's nothing. Some of these sell for tens of thousands of dollars. If you haven't heard of this...
That was weird. Hold on. The offer, if you look at the ETH symbol, I don't know if it's the light, but it looks like it's purple. Like I don't know if that's even like legit, but there might be a really good offer.
If you haven't heard of this before, it's called Zed Run, and you basically race virtual horses. What? It's so detailed that every horse has a bloodline, breed type, coat color, gender, and genotype. You can even breed your horse with all these other people's horses for these prices and try to create a super horse. I decided to buy mine today because huge news actually came out that NASCAR was going to be partnering with Zed Run. Plus, now I own Ida here, and he's a really good boy. Guys, this virtual collectible thing...
So the NASCAR thing happened like absolutely forever ago. And like on a complete side note, on like my YouTube analytics page, I've had like a ton of older videos or shorts starting to pop up where like I made one that was talking about like Pudgy Penguins and like the party penguins, and that the other day like got like 50 views just completely randomly. So something to note with all of that jazz is you'll see things on the timeline that are just coming back because there's really not a whole lot of content around certain collections where the algorithm, once people start searching something, will just pop up from back in the day. But what I want to check here is when they were talking about Zed Run and highlighting that there was like a 15 ETH offer, that might be the case. But like as an example, like the cheapest one right now is $2. So again, there is a massive difference between good and bad horses. There's 423,000 of them. So when we talk about supply and demand, the breeding got like a little bit kind of out of whack. But I mean, if we go to highest last sale, I mean, some of these things at one point were going for like 48 ETH. And this was 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, if we can word it like that, oh my God, they spent 57,000. Okay. But because ETH went up so much from the time that they did this, that ETH, if they just held, would be worth almost 200,000. Where the NFTs themselves are down. So again, we talk about NFTs a lot. We're very excited about them, but like, you know, kind of set somewhat realistic expectations if we can, if you do jump into the space. Okay, so I saw this post, and VFriends is starting to come up on the timeline because Gary V showed Cool Cats, other things. I have no idea why he's suddenly talking about these things a lot more and moving the market, but somebody who's really into VFriends had this to say, so let's react.
Man, that Whatnot stream was really crazy. They just did.
So VFriends, just to clarify as well, VFriends has gone really heavy into focusing on their card game, graded cards, the collectible cards as a whole, and that was kind of one of their big angles. So again, you're seeing a lot of these IPs. VFriends is doing card game.
The impromptu Gary was on, and it's Series 1 is the alpha. Not financial advice, but it feels like 2021 again. And
they were going for like 50 ETH.
The VFriends floor under 2 ETH. I don't know how long it's going to stay that way. And NFTs are so up and down, and the juice could be flowing one day. Something could happen, and the juice just stops flowing. But it looks like a huge influx of capital in the space. Airdrops are happening. People are looking at the market. And what I'm seeing is people who have been building since 2021, projects that have been building since 2021 are getting the recognition they deserve. And I'm here for it. So, Driven.
The Driven Dragon. So, a couple points to look at this. Number one, when I mentioned yesterday about people are in love with whatever collection they have. So, when the one person was commenting about how, yeah, you can like bottom feed the NFTs that haven't caught in a bid yet. I mean, if this guy gets an airdrop, I mean, they're probably exclusively buying VFriends, where you might be, you know, before hearing that, like, well, I wouldn't touch that. Why would I be into that collection? Or you might not really have a view on it. But that's something really to take note of. Now, with them talking about like the Series 1 being the alpha, I mean, I feel like we need a little bit more context. But I mean, even when you go to the site, right? Let's say, all right, I watched that video and I say, I'm told Series 1 is the alpha. How do I learn what Series 1 are? How do I know that it's the alpha? On their page here, they have the trading card game. They got comics, news, a quiz to find out which VFriend you are. They have cartoons. They show some of the different characters. They have a shop that's open. They have Burn Island, which I think is for book games and other NFT collections. They have a Viper game. Okay, so here's Series 1. So if we go to that, it takes you to the Ether. It takes you to the Etherscan page. Nah, that's diabolical, because this doesn't do anything for anybody. If this takes you to like OpenSea or an NFT marketplace, okay, but this is maybe the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Hold on, it says Etherscan. It says Etherscan. Listen, we're gonna go back. I thought that was just their link to Series 1. We're resending all the negative comments. But if that's the case, okay, so OpenSea here is a Series 1. So like, I mean, what do we have? All we have is a a Vaynerchuk NFT project around meaningful intellectual property and an extraordinary community. Okay, but like, it doesn't sell, right? Like, I think we have a huge problem within this space that like these websites. I mean, that's not really like a sales pitch in any kind of way. Sure, it's about that, but what does it mean? Now, with success or a bigger community, you have people that feel like they've been spurred from that particular community. Or Mario, we've highlighted him a few times here, but very, very negative regarding things around Gary V, VCon, VFriends. I think there's been a lot of weird things that have happened around some of the NFTs, overhyping certain components. I think a lot of people are subject to that. They have gone through with the 3-year planned events. But I have to say, I went to the first year, and you'd be shocked at kind of like what the crowd is comparatively. Like, yes, you have like a lot of your entrepreneurs and whatnot, but how many people are really like hardcore into the NFT space as a whole? It's actually very minimal. Now, here's kind of a cool story regarding the Pudgy Penguin and Vanek collab. If you've seen like the Vanek account where they did the predictions the other day, they have the Pudgy Penguin profile, and they were one of the very first people to do that. So here's kind of the story behind it.
Have you been involved in the Pudgy Penguins advertisement for your ETH ETF launch?
Yeah, I made the intro to our marketing team, to the Pudgy team as well. But it kind of happened before that. We did some collaboration. In April of this year, I hosted a Web3 takeover of the New York Stock Exchange. And so we were able to get NFTs, but specifically Pudgy Penguins, up on the monitors on the trading floor. That was a really great event. And it really made it look like Pudgy was taking over if you were there. It was a lot of fun. There's like a longer term mission there. And so that mission is to really connect TradFi with crypto native. And so at the party, not only did you have founders from various Web3 projects, but you also had people who were TradFi, but like crypto curious. So some institutional folks. And so bringing them together to network, to learn from each other, that was a big deal. But yeah, then fast forwarding to when we actually launched the Ethereum ETF, the Pudgy studio team helped to create the launch video. But it's really just another example that allows us to help bridge the communities together. So it's a win-win where Van Eck is supporting Pudgy, and that gives Pudgy more credibility in our world, and them supporting us does the same for our Web3 reputation. So it's a really good relationship. When you look at Van Eck, remember, we are an asset manager. We create investment solutions, and we want to position those across different demographics. And so the true crypto natives out there, at some point, just from a diversification standpoint, they're probably going to need some exposure to traditional investment vehicles. And we hope that when they do, they think of us. Same thing with TradFi. We hope they get with the times and start, adopting strategies around tokenization.
Well, so
really,
this is
sort of like the beginning in my mind.
This is a huge component, right? This is a huge component of when you think, all right, well, if you want to attract like the crypto native, right? And I guess I would call myself in that, right? Like I haven't done a whole lot of like traditional finance before I found crypto. I've talked multiple times about how like I didn't care about finance. There was nothing that really excited me about all that. Now, was it from like a lack of education at the time or just nothing that I really found interesting? But when I found the space, I was like, damn, there's all these different things. And you find out about this whole world that's around it. And you have a huge player like that that's wanting to connect to that specific crowd. And a lot of younger generations, think of it, are going to get brought up specifically through this realm. Just like myself, but again, much, much earlier. So going back, do you remember when they made official Game of Thrones build your own character NFTs? This is why big IP, when they've come into the space before, it typically goes horribly. And like this, what is this? Long fingers? This looks like an episode of The Incredibles. Remember the elastic band lady? Like, what is this? It's Game of Thrones. It's not in The Incredibles. What are we doing? Quick reminder, the market cap of Doodles is less than 200 mil. That doesn't even put it amongst the top 300 on CoinMarketCap. Now, when you take NFTs as a whole, you'd be shocked to find out how very, very few are any kind of comparison to the crypto market. And again, these NFTs as a whole, I should say, but in this context, specifically Doodles, there's only like 10,000 of them. So do you care about being a part of that like specific group? Do you care if that's like officially yours? Do you rather have something that's like a companion collection of sorts? It's a little bit more mass market where you can be a part of the brand. How much do you love something and want to spend for it? It's a great perspective. It's a great perspective. Loopify also showing an OpenSea NFT value checker. I found out that my first NFT bought, it wasn't Top Shot with a hash mask. I spent way too much on it. I don't own it anymore. I have no idea why I bought it at the time. I think it was one of the only NFTs, but it's actually like a really cool tool. They do make you sign up though, so like just be aware. But it's on TriPluid. We played a couple of videos from them where DC Roth, if you remember where we went over that 8Fest video not too long ago, they hired him. So it is like a legit site, but you do have to sign up by email. So if you're wanting to see your track record of certain things, you don't have to pay for like the pro version, I don't believe, when I did it earlier, but it is kind of like a way for them to push you towards the direction of that site. So the ramifications of the Pudgy token, all the different tokens that we know are coming, is any collection that gets a whiff of there might be a token coming because everybody realizes, hey, that's airdrop season, is catching bids. So Goblin Town, which I haven't really seen much on recently, to be totally honest, got an absolute jump in floor, going from 0.2 to 0.725. Absolutely cooking. Now, on the topic of rumors, Dougal Labs apparently launched a virtual agent, and they sniped 70% of the supply. Now, traditionally, when somebody snipes the supply, it's seen as a bad thing. But because it's Yuga, well, everybody goes out and they start sweeping the floor thinking that they are going to get an airdrop. Now, that did happen, but it was far away the company that acquired or was given a whole bunch of Yuga Lab assets from like heavy metal, etc. So watching history being made, Agent Jeff and Mr. Hiss from F-Chain XYZ have made a deal. Jeff token will become the first AI validator of F-Chain, and to celebrate, he airdropped 70% of the Jeff token supply to his friends. So this Agent Jeff character, this is played off like the main IP character that they made for heavy metal. A lot of people I saw on the timeline already sold out of the token because they got him for holding heavy metals, Bored Apes, Mutant Apes. If you happen to have apes staked through like Bendao, through Parallel Network, through any of those side things, you didn't get this drop because it did a straight up airdrop instead of a claim. But for most people, it seemed like the airdrop was respectable. And then it came out too that like Garga had no idea that this was even happening, saying didn't know this was coming and can't speak to their plans, but cool little airdrop from the faraway team. The BAYC and MAYC are eligible for airdrop season. All right, apparently golfers were given 10 mil in crypto.
Crypto.com, we're super excited to be presenting you guys the first ever crypto purse.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
All right.
What are you going to do with yours?
I don't know. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So the question is, do they understand how any of this works? To say 10 mil in crypto, crypto.com. Like, do they give them USDC? Is it Bitcoin? Is it I mean, it's got to be a stable coin, right? All right, listen, there's your use case for stable coins, which we'll get to some Ripple news regarding that in the Root Network in a momentaro. Miles saying, crazy how the market went from euphoric to complete apathy in the space of a week. I'm true. And if you ever see me hyped up dancing on stream, because I feel like the past 2 days, we're very good. Listen, sell it all. Sell it all. Sell it all. And then just rebuy like a day later. True. So this is interesting. Microsoft abandons console exclusivity. Is this the end of Xbox? Guys, I don't know how you're going to be able to... So if you're at the start of the stream, right, we went over a whole bunch of, well, if I want to watch certain sports leagues, I have to buy one subscription and then potentially other ones for the local broadcast. If I want to be into certain games, sometimes you have to pay for the skins, and then now all the games are turning into loot box systems, and then you don't even own it if your account gets banned, whatever. The world's expensive as hell. So it is kind of stupid that all of these games that are meant for gamers as a whole were super exclusive. So it looks like they are not doing that, but their bold project latitude means even juggernauts like Halo could show up on a PlayStation. Nobody cares. Just get the game out there. True. But yeah, over 1.5 trillion was wiped out from the U.S. stock market today. Holy smokes, that's a lot. And also in the crypto space, at 3 o'clock, from 3 to 4 o'clock, just in 310 million liquidated from the cryptocurrency market in the past 60 minutes. 310 million in an hour. Remember when we talked about the amount of people that are leveraging? Yeah, listen, you gotta wash that out of the system. You gotta wipe the leverage players out and then resume up only headed into 2024. Now, speaking of costs, this is interesting. And I think, when you just word things for like the average person or make things for them, people love it. So the Phoenix Suns owner decided they were going to change the prices for all of their food. So $2 across the board for hot dogs, water, sodas, chips, popcorn. All of it used to be $7 and $9. Huge change. Love it. Tickets are already expensive as hell. Who is going to be the next player to do that? Because, yes, we love the Phoenix Suns now. Love it. Solana NFT Claynosaur is sold for 500 SOL, 104,000, right? Like, so imagine, see, this is the thing. When we just looked at that Zidrun horse, how somebody spent like 50 grand 2 years ago, but if they just held the ETH, it'd be worth 200,000. Do you think this Claynosaur's NFT is going to stay at 104,000? What if Sol 10x's from here and that is now $1 million NFT? You got to hope that somebody else wants to pay $1 million for it, or you want it as a status symbol. True. Cam saying, I'm not even mad Stoner Cat's NFT isn't worth money. I'm mad the show didn't take off when it was actually pretty solid. I love the episodes and guest featured. So I have a YouTube video of this. If you look at Stoner Cat Schillerverse, and let's see if I can even do this here. This was one of those things that they tried to be exclusive and it totally failed. And so when we're talking about the games a second ago, like we can relate almost everything. And so here's it. It's got 442 views from a year ago. It's some crazy stuff. If you want to watch this is 11 minutes going over all of it. It's got Aston Kutcher. It's got Mila Kunis, Vitalik Buterin, all like massive players. But the show was completely token gated if you only held the NFT. Gary Vee did a bunch of cameos within it as well as like a raccoon. But then the SEC came in and was like, yo, we're fining you. And then nothing happened with it. But this shows where the exclusivity aspect, if you don't get it out to a mass market, I think it could have been a hit. But just nobody was able to see it unless you were in the NFT space. Okay, so Ripple making a tweet saying the stablecoin market is growing, but trust, compliance, and utility are critical. Curious the narratives building up around XRP, the Root Network, which we've covered a whole bunch. And if you go check out the playlist on my channel, go on really in depth about a whole bunch of different things. Always happy to help if you want to send a message at any point. But Ripple's Ripple US dollar just launched. Exciting for the future of compliance for stablecoins. Soon, imagine using that stablecoin as gas on the Root network. Our any token gas system means users can pay fees with any supported token, making onboarding smoother than ever. So, talking about RLUSD on the Root network, very excited to see what happens on that front. So, you might have seen Bodogos. They're an NFT collection. They're about dogs. Ryui Studios is something that's launching on Abstract. And basically this announcement is saying that the Bodogos holders will receive a pre-sale spot for their upcoming launch on Abstract. Now, what I wanted to take a moment to kind of reflect on this is nobody has any idea if this is going to do massively, right? Like if I just show you this image right here and say, okay, do you like that IP? Do you think like, okay, like from that single image, you kind of vibe with it of any sort? Maybe I can find something a little bit better. Are these like the character? No, these are just like they're okay. All these look like they're doing the influencer one of ones for the character. I don't know. There's not a whole lot, but okay, here's another one. Right? Do you say yes? This is something that I absolutely vibe with. Well, you might say yeah. You might say not. But the big thing is that it's on Abstract. So the narrative around this is one of the first things that's being put by Abstract. They're pushing forward. They're partnering with all these different people, and they're going to make some noise. So the average person looks at this and probably says, it's whatever. But because you're behind the scenes, you know it's a part of Abstract, people are getting exclusive whitelists, this is probably going to be something you're going to end up being able to flip if you buy into it. But, from my first glance, I'm like, I wouldn't instantly say, oh, yeah, like I think that's going to be a hit. Where I think certain NFTs, and just like the avatars, have that kind of pop to it. I don't know what's missing on this. But it's interesting seeing something beforehand and knowing, this is early, this is on a certain ecosystem, and it's going to do well. Where if this was on another ecosystem not associated with so much success, hype, etc., would it do as well? That is the question. This Brian person said, I just drove 12 kilometers across Toronto. It took me 51 minutes. The city is broken. That's why we love the metaverse. That's why we like doing everything online. True, and true. Okay, PSG and Matt Chain unveil joint innovation studio leading the future of Web3 in sports. So I feel like there's just so much change all the time within the soccer industry, football industry, whatever you want to call it. They're partnering up with different teams, doing their own thing of sorts. Quickly trying to read through this. Key highlights: decentralized identity solutions did, empowering the club and fans to engage and control their data together while ensuring privacy and security. So, okay. They're ensuring privacy. Okay. Digital collectibles launching exclusive digital assets, including digital jerseys, iconic match highlights, and historical PSG moments. So sounds like it's going to be kind of like Top Shop. You're going to have the digital goods included. Collaborative ecosystem encouraging open innovation, including internal ideas and participation. Third-party contributions and partnerships to foster bold, diverse innovations that align with PSG's vision for the future of sports tech. Why is it a game changer? All right. First of its kind, a trailblazing collaboration between a major football club and a decentralized identity and AI solution company. You can't say first anymore. Listen, it's 2024. Everybody's already done something of this. I mean, they're saying a trailblazing instead of first, but Yeah, no. Fan empowerment, transforming passive spectators into co-creators and decision makers within a decentralized, secure data system. So, for an example, there was a Crawley Town game Crawley Town FC, which is it was like tier 3 or tier 2. I think it was tier 3 soccer in Europe, and a bunch of NFT individuals, companies, investors, NFT holders, buyers, myself included, bought these, and you got scarves. And the idea with it is that you are going to be able to vote with your tokens to be like, you need to sign a striker, you need to get a midfielder, you need to get a defenseman. So the local fans absolutely hated all of this. They're like, crypto's stupid, this is awful, the new owners don't know anything about it. And I actually listened to them because they were one of the speakers at the first VCon, which was really cool to hear about. And I think after a few years, they were just like, okay, like we're dropping the crypto components. We're not having these extra things that are involved with it and everything else. But for the size of PSG, like PSG is like a tier 1, like top 10, top 5 club in the world. And we're saying that people are going to be decision makers in that? When we just saw like a tier 3 team have complete revolt? Yeah, nah, that's a lie. Scalable data and AI innovations, developing practical data and AI solutions that integrate seamlessly with PSG's established systems, enabling collaborative approach that enhances efficiently and scalable. All right, like that doesn't mean this doesn't mean anything for like the average person though, and some of the other stuff. But either way, it's very interesting, right? Just the fact that these major brands are realizing we have to have a blockchain play of some sorts. It's not like we're going to judge about it. It's like, no, we want it now because this is where everything is going to. And that's why we cover it every single day. Thank you so much for coming on through, Momeda. I appreciate you tuning in as per usual. And anybody else that's catching it, the VOD afterwards. Hope you guys have an amazing afternoon, evening, morning, and night. And I will see you tomorrow. Also, quick reminder, if you do want to hear the RWA Segments podcast, we do have a new episode that dropped as of yesterday. The link is in the YouTube description below. If you want to open that up, even if you want to listen for 5-10 minutes while you're on your drive to work, it would be very much appreciated. But yeah, have yourself a good one. Peace.